Hello chess lovers, welcome back to our coverage of the 2026 Tata Steel Masters in Wijk aan Zee. Today we are looking at a game that will surely be nominated for the Game of the Year. It is round 4. On the white side we have the Indian powerhouse Chithambaram Aravindh, rated 2700. On the black side we have Hans Moke Niemann, rated 2725. Hans Niemann has been in incredible form, and in this game he proves that his calculation depth is among the world's elite. Let's jump straight into the moves. Aravindh opened the game with knight to f3. The response from Niemann is knight to f6. We have pawn to g3 now, pawn to c5 by black, bishop g2 by white, knight to c6 by black, c4 now. We have a symmetrical Reti English hybrid setup. Here both players are fighting for the center indirectly. We have d5, white captures on d5, and the black knight recaptures. Knight to c3 by white, and Niemann retreat his knight to c7. c7 is not a bad square for the knight. By moving the knight to c7, black prepares to build a strong center with pawn to e5, creating a reversed Maroczy bind structure. White castles kingside, pawn to e5 by black, and a3 by Aravindh. White pawn to a3 is a good move in this position, because it blocks the square b4 for the black knight. So black moves the rook to b8, a precise move by Niemann. He anticipates white's expansion with b4 and prepares his own counterplay on the queenside. d3 by white, bishop to e7, knight to d2, bishop to d7, white moves the knight to c4, and black protects the knight with pawn to f6. We are still in theory. This position was reached sometimes in the past. Now Aravindh plays pawn to f4. He wants to break the center immediately. This move is not bad. On the other hand, pawn to f4 slightly weakens the square e3. An example for the fact that you cannot have 100%. Now black try to get initiative on the queenside. Niemann moves the pawn to b5. The white knight retreats to e3 and short castling by black. Now we have f5. Aravindh locks the kingside. He is looking for a kingside attack with g4 to g5, but this gives Niemann a free hand on the other side of the board. Now we have by black knight to d4, g4 by white, and the black king moves to the corner. Bishop to d2 and bishop to e8. We have knight to e4 by white and bishop f7 by black. Black controls now that diagonal and his position is slightly better. The light squared bishop is now a monster, eyeing the d5 and b3 squares. Now we have bishop to c3. This is not a precise move because black wins now a tempo. We have b4, white captures on b4, black recaptures, and the bishop moves back to d2. Niemann moves now his bishop to b3. The bishop on b3 is incredibly annoying for white's coordination. We have queen to e1 by white and knight from c to b5 by black. Rook to c1 and bishop to g8. A good move. Niemann keeps his bishop, protects his kingside and gives the knight a good square on b3. We have rook to d1 by white and a5 by black. Niemann's pawns are ready to march, and white's pieces are strangely cramped despite the space on the king side. Now black's position is much better. We have king to h1, knight to b3, knight to c4 by white, and the black knight captures the bishop on d2. Rook captures on d2. Now we have pawn to b3. The b3 pawn is a bone in white's throat, and the plan of black is clear. Niemann lets the pawns run. The firework of Niemann's attack begins. Queen to g3 by white. Now a4. We have g5 and a3 by black. A good move. Niemann doesn't wait for Aravindh's attack. He strikes first. He is offering a pawn to open the lines for his pieces. e3 by white. With that move, Aravindh blocks the d4 square for the black knight. Now the f-pawn captures on g5. Pawn to a2 is also a good move. Who wouldn't want a protected pass pawn like this? Knight captures on e5. Rook to b6 by black. White captures now on a3. And the black knight recaptures. Rook to b2 and queen to e8. The tension is at its peak. The position is dynamic and incredibly difficult to play for a human. We have d4 by white, knight to c4 by black, rook from b to b1, and Niemann moves the free pawn to b2. Rook f2. Now we have queen to c8. A brilliant move. Niemann sets a devilish trap. That is almost impossible to detect because his idea is to sacrifice the queen. Rook to c2. Aravindh thinks he has Niemann trapped. The knight on c4 is pinned, but here Hans Niemann played the move of the tournament. Can you see it? Yes, he captures with his knight the knight on e5. Wonderful. Absolutely brilliant. Niemann sacrifices his queen. At the end of his combination, he has a rook and a knight for the queen. And because of the b2 pawn, white's back rank is critically weak. Aravindh captures the queen. The rook recaptures. Now we have c5 by white. Bishop captures on c5. Bishop e4 by white. Knight to c4 by black. White captures on c5 and the black rook recaptures. Look at the board. Black has a rook, knight and that terrifying b2 pawn for the queen. Black has a winning position, but white is willing to fight. Aravindh plays queen to f2. Knight d6 by Niemann. Bishop c2. The black bishop moves to d5 with check. King g1, knight to e4, queen to e2, The black knight moves to c3. We have queen d3 by white. And now Hans Niemann captures the rook on b1. f6 by white. Aravindh tries one last desperate trick, threatening mate on h7. But Niemann saw it. So Hans Niemann captured the bishop on c2 with his rook. The white queen captures on d5 and black's g-pawn captures on f6. Now we have queen to d8 with check, king to g7, queen to e7 with check, king to g6. Many players would panic here, but Hans Niemann has calculated a safe path for his king. White queen to e8 with check, king to f5, queen to d7 check, king to e4, queen d4 check. The black king moves to f3. Now Niemann's king is an attacking piece. We have queen to d1 with check, and the black king captures the pawn on e3. The king steps onto e3 right in the middle of the fire, but there are no more useful checks. The white queen captures the rook on c2. We have knight to d2. White queen moves to c5 with check. And after black king moves to e2, Aravindh resigns. After queen captures on b6, the b-pawn simply promotes, and in the end black has a winning endgame. Hans Niemann showed incredible tactical vision with move 36 when he captured on e5. This victory keeps him at the top of the leaderboard and sends a massive statement to the rest of the field. If you enjoyed this game, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more coverage from Wijk aan Zee 2026. Thank you for watching this video. Bye for now.